Welcome to the Heart-Led Business Show, where compassion meets commerce and leaders lead with love. Join your host, Tom Jacobs, as he delves into the insightful conversations with visionary business leaders who defy the status quo, putting humanity first and profit second. From heartfelt strategies to inspiring stories, this podcast is your compass in the world of conscious capitalism. So buckle up and let your heart guide your business journey.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to ride the waves of wisdom with our incredible guest today, Jason Wolbers, a beacon of positivity and a masterful motivator. Jason is not just a business owner, he's a heart-led hero on a mission. So join us as we dive into his unique insights on cultivating a positive mindset and discover how he's turning the art of selling into a symphony of trust and connection. So buckle up because we're about to embark on an inspiring journey right here on the Heart-Led Business Show. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Tom. I'm glad to be here.
I am super excited to talk to you as well, Jason, because I love having authors on the show, and especially ones that have such a great message about in the positive mindset and how that relates to business and all that. So I'm really excited for today's conversation. I know our audience is going to be really excited as well. But of course, first, what's your definition of a heart-led business?
My definition of a heartfelt business or a heart-led business is basically being able to do something that you actually love. I think it starts there. If people can find their purpose in life, follow the purpose with a career or a business, to me, it's so much easier to lead with heart when you believe in what you're doing and you're passionate about it. So I believe when you find your passion, go after it, that will lead you into a heartfelt business. And that's what happened for me, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and we hear this over and over again. You know, when you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And, follow your purpose or your passion. And I always like to add one caveat to that, though. Make sure that your purpose has a market to it as well. And you're
For
good
sure.
at it as well. So we had a guest on the show. He said there's 3 circles that need to come together. One is your passion. One is that you're good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And the third is, the most important, that there's a market for it as well.
That's a good point. Just because it's your passion doesn't mean it's going to be able to make you an income.
Right. I mean, I have a passion for underwater basket weaving, but can't sell too many of those. So
yeah, it's not going to go. That's not going to go, Tom.
Exactly. I think any listeners are like, Tom, get a new joke, because I keep saying that over and over again. Anyway, Jason, tell us a little bit about your business and kind of how you started and got into having a heart-led business.
Well, I got into sales with my dad and mom's company back in 1995 when I was 18 years old. Okay. And when I say passionate, my dad had done it for 10 years already. And we sell home safety equipment. Okay. That's what we do in our business. So my dad, I knew what he was doing. I knew that he was going out into people's homes, literally visiting with mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, or, whoever, sharing with them products that could literally save a life in the event of, say, a fire, carbon monoxide leak, or it could save their property with a flood freeze sensor. That's the kind of products that we sell. Home safety equipment. Okay. You can
more
understand,
than just an alarm system, right? So
yeah,
it's like
it's
a
a
fire
network.
extinguisher.
It's anything and everything.
Oh, nice. Oh, very
We have
cool.
fire blankets. I mean, burn care products, you name it. But that's why I said before, find something you're passionate about and go after it. Because the thing I was passionate about, Tom, just so happened to be a good money-making opportunity also in my instance. So it's easy for me to say that, right? But that's what we do. And it's so easy to lead with heart. And then we look for people, like when we're hiring, I always tell people, I don't care if you have any experience in sales. I honestly don't. I almost don't want them to have experience in sales. What I want them to do is care about people. I want them to go into someone's home, sit down with them, and show them how much they care. Zig Ziglar used to say all the time, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that would be another way to define a heart-led business. is
Yeah.
you have to be able to care about what you're doing if you're going to lead with your heart.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Because if you don't, well, one in sales, if you don't care about what you're selling, like it's very difficult, something that you don't like, right? Or
That's right.
passionate about as well. Yeah, absolutely. And take us back to kind of how you got into the business, obviously family business, but you don't always have to follow the family business. So what got you into it and got you passionate about it?
Well, I have a fun story for that one. So when I was a senior in high school, I'll be honest with you, Tom, my grades were not very good. Okay. I wasn't going to be having a career in education. All right. So I told my mom and dad jokingly, I said, a college would be a waste of my time and your money. So I said, you going to let me come to work with your company or not? Because that's what I want to do. I've always had a passion for it. I always liked what my dad did. I thought because it had meaning and it helped people. And obviously, it didn't just help other people, it helped my parents to provide an income for their family and to be able to do some of the things they wanted to do in their lives, just like what we're talking about on this podcast, right? So I was 18
Yeah.
years old, and I guess you could almost say I gave my mom and dad an ultimatum. You go ahead and waste your money
Nice.
on college, or I'm coming to work for you. And they chose me coming to work for them. Well, I went to work for them. And within 3 short months, I was the international sales champion for the entire company for a month. And then I ended up doing that 3 times in my first 6 months. The next year, the year after that, 2 years in a row, I was the number one salesperson in the entire organization, 2 years in a row. And I've never looked back.
Wow. Why
I knew
do
what
you
I
think that
wanted.
is? Well, yeah. So was did your dad take you around to sales calls early on or kind of indoctrinate you into I hate
Yes,
to
he
use that
did.
word,
So
but
this is another funny story. We would ride around, that's one of the ways we train people in our industry is you take them with you, and show them a real appointment, right? So I remember times when I was driving with my dad, and he'd be like, well, I'm going to let you drive home. Now, mind you, I'm 18 years old and my dad was in the military. So I'd be driving home and I'd be getting coached up on how to drive. So I'm getting coached up on how to sell, coached on how to drive. I'm like, Dad, it's enough coaching. Just teach me how to sell. You can do the driving. Okay. I don't want to drive your car home from the appointments. I just want to learn more about how to sell the products. But yeah, my dad is a heart. He leads with his heart too. And he's a disciplinarian too, though. So he's not quite as heart led as I am. My dad's more like, Jason, you need to lead with your brain sometimes too. But I lead heavily with my heart, but I also have done a lot of studying, research. I obviously follow my brain as well. I think there needs to be a 50-50 balance there between the two.
yeah.
But yeah, I did a lot of riding around with him, Tom. A lot of just sitting there listening to the entire appointment, taking it all in. I became a trainer then for his company before I took my own dealership with the company. And my older
Oh,
brother, listen to this story. My older brother,
mhm.
when I was training my older brother, because see, I think Jeremy, my older brother, who's passed away, unfortunately, but
Oh, sorry.
I think he had to see me be successful before he joined the quote unquote family business. Right. Well,
No.
anyway, Jeremy would ride along with me and he was more of an intellectual than I was. So
Mm.
he'd sit there in these appointments and I would be sitting across the table from the couple, right? Jeremy would be to my left or right, wherever we got positioned. And he would stare at me so intently that I could feel him staring through me. And we were in a sales call one time, Tom, and I broke down and started laughing. And I just said, Jeremy, you got to quit staring through me, bro. And then we made a big joke out of it. And then of course, we sold him a full house full of products. After that, we had some fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have some really fun stories about those ride along trainings. But that's another way you find people that can lead with their heart. Get to know them, get to know people. And that ride along training helped me to get to know my dad in a different way, for my dad to get to know
Yeah.
me in a business setting and me to get to know my brother and all of our trainees. We did a lot of that ride around training with them and still do to this day, 30 years later.
How much of a difference do you think that makes in terms of knowing that person in a different light, like especially around a family business? Because,
Yes.
dad's dad,
Yep.
but when dad's at work, dad's a little bit different. It's like, how did that work for you guys?
The dynamic there was good. It was hard at first. I'd say when I worked directly for him, it was hardest. I'm still in his organization. He's still in the business. He's the regional director, which by the way, I'm being promoted. He's retiring. I'm being promoted to that position in April next year. So I'm excited
Oh,
about that. But man, he
Yeah.
showed me the ropes and he taught me everything. And it is hard to work for your dad, especially when he was in the military. And he has a certain way that he expects things to be done. And I respect that completely. I learned a lot from that. But it was hard. It was hard to
Yeah.
be like, you're in business with him and you're looking at him like, you're my dad. Be nicer to me. But he was nice, but he was firm. He was nice, but he was firm.
Yeah.
But I did get to know a different dad, and I've learned to respect his leadership, because the reason that he was hard on you is because he wanted you to be successful. And he knew that if he was soft in this business, you'd be part of the 75% that wasn't going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's always interesting to see your parents in a different light, almost, when you're almost equals with them and you're in business and all that. It's such an interesting dynamic and a shift in that dynamic as well.
It
Yeah.
was, but let me
And
just say one more
especially,
thing about that. My mom always still played the mom role no matter what, and the wife role. Like, even though she was in the business with us, she
okay.
she just stepped back. With the business and family were the same to her with us, with my dad and with me and my brother, and my sister did it too for a while. She just was mom. No matter what, she was always mom. And I think that helped my dad and I and my brother and I and my sister and I and all of us as a family unit to work together. It helped that mom was always mom no matter what. She never went into like business mode. She was always mom no matter what. So if my dad and I would get in an argument, she'd be back to being his wife the minute after it was over, and my mom, and she'd settle it out. It never became personal. If we had
Yeah.
a tiff or a rift in the business, it never became personal with any of us.
Oh, that's great. And what a great role for her.
She
And
relished
how,
it. She did good in it.
yeah, it was probably pretty challenging too. I
Oh,
would imagine.
guarantee you there were days where she was like, boys, come on, quit being boys.
Yeah.
But
But
we
you
were
know
highly
what? Moms,
successful, so it always worked out at the end of the day. We did real well together. So that always helps when you're making money and you're being successful.
yeah, when everybody's winning, like
Right.
that's
If
great.
things were
Yeah.
down, it got hard.
Yeah. So let's talk about those times when things get difficult and the business isn't going exactly as we think. A lot of heart-led business owners, myself included, find it difficult to continue leading with the heart.
Right.
How have you been able to reconcile kind of those hard times where, you have that customer and you're like, I really don't want to sell them, but I need the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's 30 years deep. I'm 48 now. I started when I was 18. That's still a challenge, as you just alluded to yourself, right? It's still a challenge when things get tough. Now, I will say this for anyone listening that started a business that you're leading with your heart. I want you to understand something. You have to remember your wallet too. You
Yeah.
absolutely must save your money during the good times, because I don't care what kind of business you're in, you're going to have the bad times. And that has been what's been our saving grace. My dad taught me at a young age to save money. So when things are going good, what helped to answer your question, what helps me and what I think what helped my dad to continue to lead with our heart is the savings account balance, the checking account balance, the investments, knowing that, hey, what we've done the past, whatever it was, if I was 5 years deep, 10, 15, 20, 6 months, whatever it was, at least I had a little bit to show for it. And in some cases, it started growing. I had a lot more to show for it. But as long as you have a little bit of, and it's hard at first. I didn't save any money the first 5 years. I really didn't.
Oh,
I was making plenty, but I didn't save any. But my dad did. So he could still lead with
yeah.
his heart, even when I was trying to think with my wallet. But the
Right.
saving of the money, Tom, is the answer to that for me. If you got to have a cushion, and you got to start building that cushion as soon as you can. Save during the hard times so you can continue to lead with heart save during the good times so you can continue to lead with your heart during the bad times.
Yeah. Do you have a certain system that you incorporate or habit to make sure that you are saving on a weekly basis
Absolutely.
or
Forced
yeah.
savings. My dad taught me that at a young age. My dad taught me so many things. And my mom too. Don't get me wrong. When I say my dad, just consider that I'm talking about both of them. But my dad's the one that
Right.
mentored me the most. I still talk to him all the time on the phone. He's my mentor. He's my number one mentor in my life. So that's why I use his name more than mom's. Mom mentored me in so many different ways, but business, it was dad. So he
Yeah.
taught us to use forced savings. Like, my investments just come out of my business checking account every single month. I don't have to think about it. It's just like a car payment or a house payment, auto withdrawal. And then in our business, We have to pay sales tax. We have to pay, obviously everybody does, income tax. We have to pay our employee tax, all these different things. So we learned this from another business mentor. We have like 7 savings accounts attached to our business checking. We move the
Yeah.
money every time we get paid on a deal. We move all the money where it's supposed to be, all of it. Inventory, everything
Yeah.
has its own place. And then we're not misappropriating the money. That helps us a lot.
That's awesome. Is that the Profit First program?
Um,
Or
they didn't call it that. He just called it what the world did he call it? He had a name for it.
huh.
It's just a basic, simple cash flow sheet where
Yeah.
we move the
Yeah.
money where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. That's very smart. And there's a book called Profit First, and the whole system is around saving, taking your profit first, pay yourself first, and then figuring out the rest later. And the author of the book is Mike something.
That's all right. I wrote
Very
the
long.
book down. I'm going to look it up when we're off the call or off the Zoom.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a very disciplined approach. And I tell you what, it saved my butt during COVID.
So you're
during
using it too.
downturn.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Good.
Because if you're not, because this is what happens in a lot of business. I'm so glad that you brought this up too, by the way. You're going through the month, everything's going fine. And then you have this mentality. Yeah. At the end of the month, I'm going to take my profit and then do something with it. But then at the end of the month, you've gone on your little spending sprees and you've got, oh yeah, I need to get that computer or whatever. And at the end of the month, no profit. You've spent everything.
Right.
But if you had taken your profit first and then figured out how to fit the rest into paying your bills, then you wouldn't overspend. And it's the same kind of philosophy of dieting, because our bodies and ourselves and our minds don't look like a vacuum, right? We like to fill the vacuum, right?
Right.
So it's if you have a full plate, if you have a big plate, you're going to fill it with food,
Right.
and you're going to eat it all. You have a smaller
100%.
plate, then you're going to fill that with food and eat it all, but it's less food. And it's the same with your savings, and you're doing that, making sure that you take the profit first, and then just use what's left over to pay the bills.
Absolutely. No, that's right. And that's what we do. And it has worked for us. And, I'd be lying to you, Tom, if I told you that I listened to all my dad's advice the first few years. I was young. I was 18 years old, 19, 20, 21. And I was spending all the money, but I wasn't running a business yet then. I was a commission salesperson. When I started running the business is when it was either listen to him or fail. Because our business is pretty consistent because the home safety industry is going to always be there. People always need these types of products. However, what about your mindset? What about your attitude? What if a factory closes in the town you're selling the most in? Things like you can't control the environment around you, right? So I did have to learn real quick. I better start saving that money so that I can stay in business. And that's advice I'd give to any business owner that wants to continue to lead with your heart. Make sure you take care of your wallet too.
Yeah. And have that cushion.
Yes,
sure.
have a cushion if you can.
So tell us about your book, The Power of Positive Mindset.
Okay. I'll show you it for those of you that are viewing this. It's called The Power of a Positive Mindset, and forward by Kristen Butler, by the way, which really inspired me. I became friends with her. She's the CEO of the Power of Positivity. She's all over social media. She's pretty big in this genre. But so she wrote a forward for me, which was really special. But this is a revised edition, and it's available October 14th of this year, 2025.
Okay.
And I wrote the book because of all the things I learned in the sales business. That's why I wrote the book, because I learned that if my mindset is good, my sales will generally follow. But when my mindset started going astray, my sales would go astray really fast. And then I kept seeing it over and over again in salespeople that we would hire. The positive attitude would sell a lot. The negative person would not. So I decided in 2021 or 22, I can't remember what year, but I decided to start writing. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put these thoughts on paper. And then I was like, you know what? One of the biggest thing our salespeople told me about reading over the years, they would say, I don't have time. My wife and I do 10 times more than most of they do. We really do. We're on boards and stuff. I mean, we do a lot outside of our business, right? And I'm like, okay, well, if I have time to read, how do you not have time to read? I mean, I know what they do. They work for me, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what I did, Tom. I wrote a book in a 90-day format that takes 3 minutes a day to read. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, all the way through 90, with topics
Yeah.
like attitude is everything, problem or opportunity, 5 steps to your future goals, feel the fear and do it anyway. Repetition is the mother of learning. Just all different
Yeah.
topics. And I literally wrote this book, and I'm writing a second book right now, from the heart. This isn't like
Yeah.
theology. You know what I mean? It's not like the deepest thing you're ever going to read, but it's going to inspire you every day when you pick it up.
Yeah. And then they can just put that on repeat every 90 days, just keep
Yes,
going
sir.
back through the book. Yeah, I
And it's
love
available on
that.
Audible too. So if that's another thing, if you don't have time, just listen to it. It's 3 minutes a day. Just
Yeah.
listen to it while you're brushing your teeth. That's what I do. I listen to this book every morning because I don't care that I wrote it. I need it. I need what's in it. I need a daily dose of positivity in my life.
Yeah. I think everybody needs that.
We
Frankly,
do. Too many people
yeah.
just go through life without it, though. They go through life just kind of coasting. And as a business owner, you can't do that. You have to stay focused. You have to stay disciplined. You have to have habits. And books like this, not just this one, there's other books that are written in similar formats that I have found that have been very helpful to me. But these are helpful because they're quick and easy, and it gives you a little bit of what you need to get your day started. I'd recommend read it in the morning, by the way, for sure.
Yeah. Anytime that you can set that mindset early on, just makes the day go so much better. It's like wake up in the morning, stub your toe, you know it's going to be a bad day. The rest of the day is like, oh, that toe still hurts.
One of the topics in the book, one of the days, it's wake up on the right side of the bed. No joke. That's the title of the chapter. Wake up on the right side of the bed, because so many people say I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Well, why don't you intentionally wake up on the right side of the bed?
Yeah. And who decided which side was right, which one's wrong?
Exactly. That's right. But you're right. That's what happens to us. It's a domino effect. The second you stub your toe getting out of bed, even with a good mindset, that can screw up your morning.
Yeah. And then that can go into days and weeks and months. And
It sure
but
can.
yeah, but keeping that positive mindset on a regular basis, meditations, reading, all that.
I listened to some of
Such a
your
good-
other episodes, and some of those folks were speaking on spirituality and those types of topics, and I really enjoyed that. By the way, your other episodes, I listened to several of them.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for
You're
that.
very
Yeah.
welcome. I'm going to continue to also. It's a very good podcast for those of you listening. Keep listening, because I've been in business 30 years, and I'm getting a lot from Tom and the guests that I'm listening to.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really the benefit that I've gotten from the podcast the most, and it was an unexpected benefit, was just these connections and the stories that people have around just, the purpose of the show is like, how do you have a heart-led business but still make money and be okay with that? And it's amazing how resilient people are, and how great, and how, sharing people like you are in terms of their journey. Yeah.
Absolutely. Keep cranking it, man. I've been enjoying the episodes, and I'm going to keep listening to them.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. We've gotten to that time, and I can't believe, and I say this every episode because I have great guests on here, but I do mean this. It's completely flown by. But tell us, how can people learn more about you and your book and what you're up to?
Okay. Well, I have a website, jasonwolbersmotivation.com. Okay. That's simple,
Awesome.
right? My first name and then motivation, first and last name and then motivation. And then anything on social media, anywhere you go, it's Jason Wolbers Motivation. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, those are the three I use the most. YouTube, I have a YouTube channel. I do, oh goodness, LinkedIn, I have that, but I just don't use it very much. I'm more on the motivational side. So I like the social media where you make a quick video, pop it up, and motivate people. But that's where they can find me. And they can find, if you're going to pre-order the book, I'd recommend you do it at barnesandnoble.com, if you don't mind. That helps me as the author. It helps my publisher. We're trying to get the book on store shelves, and the best way to do that is to sell a whole bunch through Barnes and Noble before it releases.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'll have to remember that for my next book.
Yeah, that's what my publisher wanted me to do. So I'm just following Morgan James. Morgan James Publishing took a chance on me. I appreciate that too. A little shout out to them, and David Hancock, the owner. He's a great guy. And I got to know him through stuff like this, by the way, Tom. It's connections.
Yeah.
Yep.
Connections, leading with heart. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, we'll link all that up into the show notes to make sure that makes that easy for everybody as well.
Sounds great. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, no worries. And thank you, Jason, again for being on the show. Really appreciate your wisdom and your stories. I know our listeners are going to really enjoy this.
Well, you're quite welcome, and I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. And thank you, listeners, for watching or listening to the show today, depending on what platform you're on. We really do appreciate it. And make sure you're checking out everything that Jason is doing. And we're going to provide that all in the show notes. So you make it really easy. Just click on there, go to his website, social media accounts, and all that good stuff. And make sure you get a copy of that book at barnesandnoble.com. And also, if you could do me a favor, and that is to share the show with a friend or family member that could use some of this conversation that we had today about heart-led businesses, and making sure you have a savings account signed up so you don't, and so when it gets tough, you can still be heart-led. So until next time, lead with your heart.
You've been listening to the Heart-Led Business Show, hosted by Tom Jacobs. Join us next time for another inspiring journey into the heart of business.